What's going on, everyone? It's David. It's time. Time for me to cut. A time for me to become small. From when I was 205 pounds of chunk that you see before me, or before you, rather. Down to a small, shredded, crisp, lean motherfucker. Now, let's get down to business here. This is, as you can see, the nutrition breakdown. And as you're about to witness, the gains breakdown. We're going to go around and talk about everything that I'm going to do, step by step, month by month. I'm going to be breaking this stuff down for you guys. Now, let's get started. So, macros, obviously, as you guys know, if you've been following me long enough, start of Movember, hence the dirt stash. If you guys follow me already on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, you guys know I track my macros. I track them religiously. I'm getting Carly to track them religiously. I try to get my clients to track them religiously. But at the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference, how you're going to do, if you're going to put your time in or not. Regardless, I track mine. So, let's get started. Carbs. As you'll see at the bottom here, 3,500 calories is my starting calories. Why? Why is it so high? Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, I want to maintain as much muscle mass as possible while doing as little work as possible at the beginning. As lazy as that sounds, it is, at the heart, the smartest thing I can do. Now, I started my calories for this cut at 3,750. So that's already a 250 calorie deficit from what I started with. So, based on that, 3,500 calories makes sense because incorporated with exercise, which, as I'm going to talk on the gains page, you will see that it is beneficial. So, protein, 25%. Now, the AMDR for Canada is anywhere from 10 to 30%. I'm kind of hitting that upper limit, but as you guys can see, 219 grams is more than I weigh. It's more than a pound per body weight, but as my calories decrease, that is going to come down. So I want to start with it high so I can make up for it. Now, the reason why water is included on here, as you'll see, is because my protein is high. Now, protein dehydrates you. Anyone who doesn't know this should really consider eating just a piece of chicken by itself and see how it works on your digestive tract. So, 2 to 3 liters of water per day at least.
It's for quitters! I don't need it! I don't need it! I don't need it! I don't need it! I don't need it!
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I 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 need it!
No, SpongeBob! No, no, no! Stop! Ricky! Ricky!
I'm not going to have any booze, which, as you guys know, since I have Crohn's disease, I don't have any of that as it is. Pop. I don't drink much carbonated beverage as it is either. So that's just mostly on there for those of you that are looking for advice on how to cut and little things to cut out to get that decrease in calories. So if you're starting high like me, cutting out pop and alcohol is an easy 250 calories per day without doing any actual work whatsoever. So, makes sense. Water, done. Carbs. My carbs are going to stay high, around 50%. Why are they staying so high? Because it's simple. Once I get down to roughly 2,800 to 3,000 calories a day, I'm going to start carb cycling, which means that my fats are going to decrease, or my fats are going to increase, on non-workout days, and my carbs are going to decrease substantially. So I want to have a high baseline so that on workout days, I can supplement myself with as much glycogen into my muscles as possible. Now, I'm going to try to stay on that lower glycemic load eventually because, as you see at the bottom here, my fiber is going to increase due to this decrease in carbs. By the end of this cut, I'm expecting that my carbs are going to be around 230. So expect that number to pretty much cut in half. But just at the starting point, this is what I'm working with here. Now, fats. Fats are at a lower end here. Again, AMDR for those is around 20 to 35%, and I'm kind of on that lower end of 25%. So that puts me to 97 grams of fat per day. And it's going to stay at that level until my fats drop down to probably 90 to 80 grams, to 85 grams, and my carbs have already cut down to probably 300. And that's when, as I've talked about, the carb cycling is going to come into play. So that's the macro breakdown. If you guys don't understand that, leave a comment. I'll explain my rationale more specifically, more exercise physiology related. Now, the macros explained here. Let's get down to business here, Luke. So you got this in here. My decreased calories, but I'm going to maintain the percentages for as long as I can. Why am I going to do that? Because of my style of working out. Around 2,700 to 3,000 calories, more likely the 2,800 range. I'm going to start carb cycling. So I'm going to have, on workout days, 50% of my diet is going to come from carbs. So that's going to maintain that same highness. But the the gram ratio is going to be far less than what it was when I started, simply because my calories have dropped by almost 1,000. Now, I'm going to maintain my protein levels because, again, maintain that muscle mass, the amino acid breakdown, the protein synthesis of everything. You just want to maintain what you can while you're in that deficit, while not hitting that upper limit into a range where it's going to kind of make you sick and make you feel like crap. So all these guys are having like 35+% of their diet just from protein. They're not really doing much good. That's the nutrition part. Let me explain to you in part why everything is staying the way it is. This is the gains part. So I got to try to maintain the August 753 program that I've been doing. But I'm on my starting 4th cycle now, actually. And even with my calories as high as it is, it's already quite difficult to do. So that's what I'm saying, mostly. I might have to make some changes, like doing 10 sets of 3 while I'm going to be at a caloric deficit in around 27 to 2,800 is quite difficult. So that may not end up happening. So as I said, C number 3, a possible return of bodybuilding. I hypothesize around January of 2017 is going to be the end of my August program. More than likely around the midpoint to the end point of January, not so much the beginning point, because I figure I should be able to get another cycle, if not a second cycle, of strength training specific programs, and then I'm going to go into bodybuilding where I'm still going to try to maintain my lifts, but the volume might come down just a little bit in terms of I'm not going to have 7 sets of 5 or 10 sets of 3, something where it's just going to completely destroy my body and beat me down to a point that I can't even do cardio, which I'm going to do 1 time a week to start. We've got either ad hoc, HIIT cardio, and some variation of sprints. To start, I'm just going to do 10 to 15 minutes of sprints because, again, I've already decreased almost 250 to 275 calories. So I've already hit that caloric decrease in a substantial manner where it's going to make a substantial difference. Ad hoc, that's essentially just if I go over my calories, I'm going to do a little bit longer of cardio in terms of I'm over my calories for what I'm eating. So instead of hitting that 3,500, I have like 3,600 or something, then I'll do a little bit of extra cardio. The HIIT training, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to need to do this at this point in time. This is more than likely something that I'll end up doing around the same point as when the August program ends. The August program expends a substantial amount of calories without actually realizing it because you're only doing stuff where it's like 10 sets of 3. Because of the stress that it puts on your muscle fibers and your body itself, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, you don't realize how much extra calories you're burning just from simply showing up and doing it. The energy expenditure ratio there is substantial based on the portion that, to the point that you may not even need to change anything and even add cardio. So in my case, if I find that I'm losing more than a pound a week, which is at most what I want to be doing right now, then I may not even do cardio at all for that once a week. I may even find that my calories of dropping that 25 or 250, 275 ends up being too much at first. So I may have to actually increase slightly, like maybe another 50. But everything is going to be tracked straight down to my weight. So I'll be doing weekly weigh-ins with and without water. So Sunday morning, Sunday night, those are going to be my weigh-ins to decipher how much I'm eating per day, how much I'm eating in the morning. Next, last and not least, stretching. So I do stretching. I do mild facial release with softballs, with lacrosse balls, and with foam rollers. Sorry, I was having a brain fart there. But the thing is, I'm typically doing these just as kind of a warm-up or pre-introductory workout for like deadlifts or squats, something where my legs are going to be nice and limber. And then I'm just doing a basic stretch type of thing for my back, my chest, where the calories that I've expended are there to kind of protect me from it per se. Not so much my joints, but my muscles from having cramping or any point of muscular soreness where I don't want to actually do the exercise. So by increasing my stretching, due to the decrease in calories, where I'm going to have a decrease in my energy, which is going to cause a less water retention, less glycemic effect, less glycogen, less insulin, just everything's going to be decreasing slowly, hormonal imbalances and whatnot. Again, not right now, more so around the January start point. I will need to increase my stretching. So I'm going to increase my stretching consciously now to be prepared for when I need to do it later on. This is just the start of everything. But everything is going to be coming down substantially. Again, like I said, carbs are probably going to be cut to almost in half of what that is. Fats probably going to be around 75 at the end. Protein, I figure it'll be close to 200 to 195 by the end of my cut. So I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous. The last thing I forgot to talk about is intermittent fasting. I plan on jumping back on that intermittent fasting train, mostly because of the added aspect that I don't enjoy doing cardio. So by intermittent fasting, it shortens my window of eating. So I'm gonna still hit my macros all the same, but it's gonna cause an increase of glycogen and glucagon secretion. Sorry, again I'm having a brain fart. Which is going to, but it's going to be in a much shorter window. So my fasting glucose levels are going to be lower. Obviously, I'm not diabetic. So as a result, it's going to help balance out my sugar levels, and I won't have as much water retention. I'll be able to burn through my stored fats quicker because of not eating every single 2 hours and whatnot. And at the same time, my fiber will eventually increase as well when my calories drop down, my carbs drop down. And the rationale behind this, especially on carb cycling days, is that it'll make me feel fuller longer. And to combat the 2 to 3 liters minimum, it's going to make me feel even more full longer because of the fibers, soluble fibers. They're going to make me shit, but it's also going to make me feel full. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this duster. It's real sweet. Honestly, I hate it, but it's probably coming off right after this video. Stay strong, ladies and gentlemen. I plan on making another one of these a month down the road. Follow my progress.